Hey, what's going on, guys? EFK there, and today I want to talk about basically, I want to revisit an old topic I did on my channel about a year ago, where I talked about whether or not Sega could come back in the console market. And well, I want to talk about this now. Updated look on it, especially with the new Rovio deal, and whether or not Sega would ever risk trying to get back into the console wars. Now, for those who don't know, we have actually seen a notable company who was actually competing with Sega back in the 80s and 90s re-enter the console market after years not being a part of it, and that was Atari. Now, the Atari VCS isn't a smashing success. It's not as popular as Atari really hoped it would be, and from what we know, they've obviously stopped their manufacturing contracts because they don't need it. They don't need to really keep making so many because they've already got a load in stock and no one's buying them. So there's that. Likewise, Sega's recent deal to purchase Rovio Entertainment is another reason why I don't feel Sega will ever re-enter the console market. The reason being, Rovio Entertainment is a mobile game developer. Sega is trying to push into mobile gaming, and mobile gaming is the biggest market for gaming on Earth. For those who don't know, if you look at the market shares of the I say 4, 5 major ways you play games, there's been mobile, console, PC, cloud gaming, and virtual reality. Mobile is the one that dominates all the others. They're the one that everyone knows, everyone has played, because you may not even realize it, but 5 billion people have a smartphone, so 5 billion people have access to your game if you can get it on both Android and iOS. So logically, there's no reason to really worry about trying to make your own console, spending all this money, losing money on making the system, and obviously whatnot, just to hope the software makes up those sales, because despite Sega being a profitable company and having a ton of money on hand, they haven't really got a reason to jump back into the console market unless they are provoked. They've got a reason to. Likewise, Sega's also got this huge catalog of games that they are clearly monetizing on platforms like Steam. Like if you're on Steam, you can get there's like 500 Sega games listed, which is quite a lot of games, which is bigger than most game publishers' backlogs. I know, for instance, it's bigger than Atari's backlog of games, and that's just the ones that are available on Steam. That's not including all the stuff that Sega's obviously got that isn't available due to licensing issues, or how they just haven't re-released. Likewise as well, Sega doesn't really need to make a console. There's no real reason. There's no incentive for them to do such a thing. Sure, their mini consoles sell really well, but there's no reason for them to make a brand new console with like exclusive games, from their own development studios, because Yakuza, Persona, Sonic the Hedgehog, they sell millions of copies across Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC every time there's a new game. So Sega's got no incentive to make a game exclusive to their platform. They've got no incentive to make console, because as well, consoles lose money, which is what the CMA actually discovered when he was looking into the Microsoft Activision deal, that Microsoft actually loses about $100 per console sold. It's just really awkward. It's just really weird when you think about it, because I've seen people suggest that Sega will make a huge comeback in the console market, but I don't personally see it. I don't think it'd be viable for Sega, and I don't see the point in why they would do it. Because for those of you who don't know, the 12 years Sega was in the console market were the 12 years they struggled to make a profit the most. Now people say, oh, they was profitable, they had the arcade division. That is true. Nowadays, Sega's a more profitable company than ever, and they've expanded into PC, mobile, console. They've published games on cloud gaming services, and Sega's clearly looking at trying to expand what they can do in the future. They've obviously licensed stuff like Sonic Hedgehog for movies, and all this sort of stuff, but I don't really see the necessity for Sega to get back into the console market when they've got no incentive for it, and there's no reason for them to do it. Especially when Sega is always rumored to be one of the companies that's going to get acquired. You hear it all the time with PlayStation, Xbox fans on Twitter. They're all arguing, well, Microsoft will buy Sega or Sony will buy Sega. Guys, no one's buying Sega. Okay? Shut up. Shut up. It's very annoying. Because, not being funny, right? People are like, oh, Sega's going to get bought by Microsoft or Sony. Arguably, the one that's most likely to do it is actually Nintendo, because they have the longest history of Nintendo, and they work closest with Nintendo out of those three companies. And Nintendo doesn't spend big on acquisitions. Nintendo's only made a few acquisitions just entire existence. I don't see Nintendo making a bid for Sega. There's no reason for them to do that, especially when Sega makes most of their money off of franchises which aren't even on the Switch. You know, games like Yakuza don't run on the Switch. So why would Sega try and sound to Nintendo if Nintendo can't even run the games that Sega makes? That's what just confused me, and that's what annoys me. But to me, Sega's got no incentive to make a console again because, well, all their consoles lost money. You know, for those who don't know, Sega was never the leader in the console market. People are like, oh, they gave Nintendo a run for their money. The Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis sold about half the units of Super Nintendo did. That's not giving them a run for their money. If they were giving them a run for their money, it would have been something like the Xbox 360 selling 2 million consoles less than the PS3. That's giving your competition a run for their money. Selling half the units that your competitor sold is not really giving them a run for their money. And Sega would be better Sega's in a better position just being a third-party developer and publisher, to be honest, and trying to grab a foothold in mobile rather than try and go back to being a console manufacturer, especially as console prices are increasing. You know, the technology is more expensive to actually make a console because you expect to have like 4K and all these sort of little features. Yeah, it's just not viable, and there's no reason to. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, turn notifications. I've been EFK, and I'm signing out. Peace.